Hello, folks. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Newswatch. We'll be continuing to listening to the House Judiciary Committee hearing of the United States. Today, we are going to listen to the representative of the Democrats. So let's just get into it. We'll be listening in and I will be commenting. Okay? Let's go.
They told us vaccines. They told us that the vaccinated can't get it. They told us the vaccinated can't transmit it. They told us masks work. They told us
Allow me
6 feet.
just to
This was based on science, and they told us this was the first virus in history where there's no such thing as natural immunity. They were 0 for 8. And yet they're going to define with some disinformation.
this way you look intelligent.
You gotta be kidding me. As RFK Jr. testified before our committee, never forgot what he said. He said, when you
Look at history. When you look at history,
it is never the good guys here for censorship. It is always the bad guys, and that's our concern.
we need debate.
The best way to answer bad speech, wrong speech, stupid speech, crazy speech, even hate speech, is more speech.
We need the First Amendment.
Our committee will continue to move legislation that protects free speech from threats, including threats from abroad.
With that, I now recognize our ranking member for his opening statement.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome to our witnesses. I imagine that in a hearing about threats to freedom of speech abroad, we might hear from a Russian dissident about Putin's massive violations of political freedom, or the death of Alexei Navalny in prison, or perhaps a Chinese pro-democracy activist about President Xi's attacks on free speech in Hong Kong, Tibet, Xinjiang, or the persecution trial of Jimmy Lai. Or maybe a journalist about the Saudi Crown Prince's assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post writer who demanded freedom from religious persecution and oppression in Saudi Arabia. But no, the dictators of the world have got nothing to fear from this hearing. The Republicans called it to attack our democratic allies in Europe.
I would just like to interrupt to say this. He's absolutely right. If this committee wanted really to make an influence in the world, a positive influence, he would listen to, for example, the people that he was talking about. A lot of Russian dissidents all over the world that should be heard. So that instead of having so much disinformation, we would actually know what is happening and how things have come to this point. Let's continue.
The star witness is not a human rights leader like Navalny, but a far-right, pro-Putin politician who leads the UK Reform Party, a party that has 4 members out of 650 members in the parliament. He calls England an authoritarian regime, while saying that Vladimir Putin is the world leader he admires the most. Well, this hearing mimics Vice President J.D. Vance, who went to the Munich Security Conference in February, and in the first 2 minutes of his speech, whitewashed the world's leading autocratic regimes, proclaiming that the threat that worries him is not Russia. It's not China, he said, but rather it's our European allies. Amazing. Republicans are promoting far-right parties in Europe, like Alternative for Deutschland, Reform UK, and Rassemblement National Français, and ignoring massive repression in Russia, China, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and among all the autocrats of the world. Republicans are vilifying European liberal democracies simply for engaging in the kind of line-drawing exercises that we Americans engage in under our First Amendment with respect to the epidemic of child pornography, protecting children from other harmful content, defamatory speech, online scams and false advertising, and speech inciting riots and imminent lawless action, all forms of speech that the First Amendment does not protect and whose tricky contours must still be drawn by law. We could have a meaningful hearing on this complicated subject, but this hearing is just a drive-by hit against a strong Democratic ally to benefit a Donald Trump sycophant and wannabe. But it's even worse than this. Not only are our colleagues ignoring intensifying repression in the world's dictatorships, they're also trying to distract the world from the attack on freedom taking place right here in America every single day. Americans aren't worried about the EU or the Online Safety Act in the UK. We're not worried about white nationalists not having enough license to incite lynch mobs to set immigrants on fire in their bedrooms. Americans are worried that Donald Trump is working to rewrite and whitewash American history in our museums, our textbooks, and our national parks, to destroy PBS, NPR, and public broadcasting, to ban books in our libraries, and to censor any news stories critical of him by installing political henchmen in private broadcast rooms. Americans know that academic freedom is in danger when the administration cancels and withholds billions of dollars in scientific and medical research funding from American universities, even for urgent life-saving studies about breast cancer or heart attacks, as a way to force schools to impose government orthodoxy on curriculum, hiring, admissions, and any student and faculty speech that MAGA considers politically incorrect. Americans see Trump trying to harass, intimidate, control, and shut down the press, like ABC, CBS, NBC, NPR, and PBS. The Republican-controlled FCC essentially blackmailed media companies Skydance and Paramount into agreeing to install a spy, a monitor, a minder, I think the Brits might say, to police CBS News programs to make sure that they are being sufficiently Trumpy in giving us the news in order to get approval of a merger from FCC. Meanwhile, Trump sued 60 Minutes and CBS personally for $20 billion for the frivolous cause of action that he thought an interview with Kamala Harris was edited too favorably, and then walked away with a cool $16 million in a shakedown settlement for his library, all part of a now familiar pattern. When Trump doesn't like the news, he sues the broadcaster and unleashes the FCC on them until they pay up and agree to a government spy stationed in their office. Free speech is so much in danger in the US today that if the government tries to violate our rights, we might not even be able to find a lawyer to defend ourselves.
Just interrupting to ask you this question. Let me just focus back to me. Quick question. Did he utter one single lie? Didn't Mr. Trump did this? Whatever justifications you want to find for it. But didn't he do this? As far as I am concerned, he did it all. At least from multiple sources, and not all of them from the United States. In fact, the majority of them were not from the United States, because it's very hard to see proper news in the United States. When it's factual, like this one from Forbes, again, please go visit their site. When it's from a site like this, like Forbes, and it's factual, and they're showing things as they are happening, I can believe in it. But when they start to go into the narrative, no. Let's continue. Sorry for the interruption.
Because Trump is systematically exacting retribution against law firms that represent anyone on the other side of a case against him. Look, our country loves free speech. We fight for free speech. We fought for free speech, and we know it's in danger when students who are lawfully in the United States are taken off the street and arrested without warrants by masked federal agents in unmarked cars for writing an article or attending a rally that Stephen Miller doesn't like. Free speech is in danger when visitors to our country have their social media accounts screened at the border for any criticism of Donald Trump. Free speech is in danger when To Kill a Mockingbird, The Handmaid's Tale, 1984, and The Kite Runner are banned from our schools and libraries across the country, and even families defending our freedom abroad have to fight for their kids' right to read freely in public schools run by the Department of Defense. Freedom's in danger when the administration tramples the civil service rights of hundreds of thousands of nonpartisan expert civil servants. These civil servants have been protected against political discrimination for more than a century to maintain the excellence and independence of our federal workforce, but they're now being fired simply for doing their jobs, like prosecuting violent criminals and insurrectionists who try to overthrow our government and attack our police officers, or because they honestly gave honest economic information and labor statistics to the public. These honorable civil servants are being fired because they won't be the political hacks Trump demands that they be. When private comments made by federal employees are scrutinized for anti-Trump bias and they can lose their jobs because of it, then we've entered the realm not just of Vladimir Putin, but of Joseph Stalin. Now, Mr. Trump and Mr. Farage both claim they're protectors of free speech, but they only want to protect speech they agree with. In the UK, Mr. Farage is openly promoting the abolition of the Human Rights Act of 1998 to be replaced with a British Bill of Rights that limits the right of free speech to British citizens and legally sanctioned residents. He complains that racist threats against immigrants are not protected free speech, while he proposes to strip migrants, tourists, and perhaps even visiting American congresspeople of any free speech rights at all. I had my own close encounter with that when Mr. Farage and his team presented for more than an hour in a conversation we had about free speech. And after 3 minutes of talking, he cut me off and terminated the meeting because he didn't like what I was saying. That's the kind of free speech he's committed to. There is a free speech crisis in America today, but there's no free speech crisis in Britain. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has not shut down GB News, where Mr. Farage has his own show, just because Mr. Farage has used his airtime to call for banning peaceful protests that he disagrees with. No one has stopped him from going on Russian TV 17 times and saying also and repeating that the one world political leader he most admired was Vladimir Putin, even though Vladimir Putin is a war criminal and a dictator who has regularly interfered in other countries' democratic elections. No one has stopped Mr. Farage from parroting Putin's absurd talking points, like when Farage claimed that NATO, the US and Britain, provoked this war in Ukraine. For a man who fashions himself as some kind of a free speech martyr, Mr. Farage seems most at home with the autocrats and dictators of the world who are crushing freedom on earth. Mr. Farage wants to get rid of the Online Safety Act in his country, a law shepherded by the Conservative Party and implemented by the Labor Party, which bans child pornography online, protects children from harmful content, forbids non-consensual pornography and other unlawful content. He should go and advance the positions he's taking here in Congress today in Parliament, which is meeting today, if he's serious about it. To the people of UK who think this Putin-loving free speech imposter and Trump sycophant will protect freedom in your country, come on over to America and see what Trump and MAGA are doing to destroy our freedom, kidnap college students off the street, ban books from our libraries, militarize our police and unleash them against our communities, take over our universities, wreck our professional civil service, and turn the government into a money-making machine for Trump and his family. You might think twice before you let Mr. Farage make Britain great again. I yield back.
All right, folks. Like I told you, we are going to do this nice and slow. I'm going to divide this in more or less digestible episodes. I will try to do something else also parallel to this. But you have to understand that I work all day, so sometimes it's not that easy to put up a lot of contents, okay? But I will try. Anyway, this was the position of the Democratic representative in the commission. As you can see, he did not say a single lie. And I know people are going to tell me that I'm biased, given what I spoke about the other gentleman. But the truth is this. If there is something that still annoys me, there are two things that really annoy me. Stupidity and lies. Stupidity is a person that knows what the truth is, where it lies, and yet refuses it and wants to impose their own narrative, meaning they are not ignorant. An ignorant person is just a person that does not know. An ignorant person can be educated. An ignorant person can be not persuaded, because the word is not persuaded, but an ignorant person can be presented with the facts and understand that whatever it is, the truth is there, seeing the facts. And that those persons, okay, with those persons we all must have a bit of tolerance, okay? If you start talking with me about nuclear physics, I will probably know the basics of it, but I will not be able to discuss it as a pro with you. This is how you have to approach other people in these matters. You have to approach them with the simplest message. Look, just go straight to the point. Like that question that I asked before, is it a lie that Mr. Trump did all those things? And the ones that were in those little billboards that the girl was showing, no, it's truth. And then you listen to the words of the gentleman or what he was saying, and you make your own mind. Okay? But we are going to listen to a lot of crap in this because I already listened to it fully, but we'll soldier on. For now, I'm going to end this episode today. I think I want to make at least a couple, at least end this by the weekend. I will try. It won't be easy. If I can end it by the weekend, I will continue. Because whatever happens in the future, it will be interesting to have this, and even to myself, my reaction to it, and see how things evolve after this. Because I think this will be a pivotal moment. Have this hunch, let's call it. Now, thank you very much for watching it with me. I hope to catch you all in my next video, and please be safe, especially if you are in America. Man, I hope you and your family are all right, and I hope that you are keeping safe and that you are able to weather this storm, because good things are not coming, and not just for you, but that is a subject for another video. Thank you all, and